With warming oceans, fish are swimming to safety. Professor of biology and fishery expert David Taylor says that the first step is for people to believe in the climate crisis.
In terms of what people should understand about climate change, I think the saddest thing right now is the first step is just to convince people that it's real. I mean, that's kind of like where we're at, unfortunately.
Mickey Sacoccio is a local conch fisherman and can already see the effects of climate change.
I know it's changing. There's no doubt. Nobody can deny that, But and I know that we got a lot to do with it, with the cars, and the airplanes, which is probably worse than the cars. But it comes and it goes, But it's happening. It's definitely getting weird,
The Roger Williams University Marine Laboratory Manager, Brad Bork, says that the crisis will seriously impact fishermen livelihoods.
It would have a really big impact on the coastline. A good percentage of areas in Rhode Island that are now important tourist areas, important fishery support areas where the processing plants are, where the boats are kept, those areas will all be underwater.
The eels. There's no eels around here anymore.
So in terms of direct impacts on fisheries, probably the greatest impact is that different fish have different temperature preferences. So as you change the water temperature, fish are going to change their distribution, where they're located based on that temperature. Southern species that maybe historically didn't use these waters because it was too cold for them now find it a good place. So that's where we're finding more southern species utilizing Narragansett Bay, possibly to the detriment of fish that used to be here. Another reason why the bay had warmed up in the past was, for example, because of the Brayton Point power plant, which is no longer operational, but it used to put heated effluent or heated water into the bay. So that's kind of a localized reason why our waters were warm, but climate change is certainly a part of that as well.
Well, the water's got to get into the 50s in the bay. Once it hits the 50s, then these guys are all in the mud. So when it gets to be in the 50s, then they start coming around. They're hungry, so they've been hibernating all winter. So we catch them at a vulnerable time. We are kind of like predators, no doubt about it.
Rhode Island is known for its seafood and fishing areas, but with warming waters, the question arises of how local fishing industries will survive.
I don't like hot weather, and I don't like hurricanes, so I'm just kind of hoping that it just sort of. Well, I'm an old man now. I'm getting old, so it's like I'll be gone before it really gets bad. But yeah, it's scary. You go out in the Midwest. I spent time out there, and and it's pretty volatile. Down Florida, that's really volatile down there because you got all these systems coming around. Like we're around here, we don't have the land mass, and we've got the ocean, and it kind of makes everything fairly temperate. But you get one good storm, and and it changes everything.
Ramifications of increasing temperatures is fish are dependent on temperature cues for their life. So for their reproduction, their growth, a lot of our fish around here are seasonal, so they migrate at different temperatures from one area to the other. If the temperatures go above their stress tolerances, they may not be able to live and survive in some areas. It may be something you just have to stay vigilant and monitor the fish populations as these conditions change.
I clearly think that we need to address climate change, but the speed with which we can address it and perhaps reverse the disconcerting trend is not fast enough to make an impact on the immediate fishers' lives. So they have to immediately adapt. While the long-term plan might be mitigation and perhaps reversal, that doesn't fit the timescale of when fishers have to put food on the plate.
And fishermen are pretty much on top of it. They know what's happening, because it's their livelihood depends on it, but we all use diesel motors, and you're not going to get away from that, Well, everybody's going to have to adapt. the snails too. You know, even the snails will have to adapt, either that or just disappear. So it's, you know, I mean, you don't spend too much time thinking about that. You know, it's like, well, you just go until you can't go anymore. That's what it boils down to. It's just too bad that the world wouldn't slow down. You know, that's the problem. You know, you can't be laid back anymore. I'm about as laid back as you can get, you know, and it's like maybe even a little bit too much, you know, but you got to hustle.